This podcast is brought to you by Daba, your most comprehensive platform for investing in African stocks, bonds, and managed funds. You can download the Daba app on your favorite Google and Apple app stores. The regional stock exchange, the BRVM, kept moving forward, and several stocks really stood out. We will take a closer look at the top gainers of the day, the performance of the indexes, and what happened on the bond market. Stay with me, because these movements reveal a lot about investor confidence in our region's economy. Let's begin with the indexes, because that sets the tone for the session. The BRVM Composite Index, which reflects all the listed companies, rose by 0.22% to close at 324.7 points. That might sound modest, but let's not forget that since the beginning of the year, this index has climbed by more than 17%. For a long-term investor who has stayed invested since January, the overall trend is clearly positive and rewarding. The BRVM Prestige Index, which brings together the most solid and reputable companies on the exchange, also moved upward. It gained 0.31% to close at 137.06 points. On a yearly basis, this index has grown by over 19%. What does that mean for you as an investor? It means the flagship companies of the region remain a safe harbor, attracting capital from those who want stability and visibility over time. Now, let's move to the highlight of every market session, the biggest stock winners. At the top of the list, we have Oragroup Togo, whose share price jumped by 7.43% to settle at 2,240 CFA francs. That is an outstanding performance in just one session. For investors, this sends a clear signal that confidence in this regional banking group is strengthening. Banks continue to be the backbone of growth in West African financial markets, and Oragroup's strong showing proves it. CFAO Motors, Côte d'Ivoire, also delivered a great performance. The stock rose by 5.53%, closing at 145 CFA francs. Over the past year alone, CFAO Motors has almost doubled in value, up more than 90%. This illustrates the resilience of the automotive and distribution sector. As consumption keeps picking up across the region, companies like CFAO Motors are reaping the benefits. And then there's Uniwax Côte d'Ivoire, a stock that continues to impress. It gained 4.62%, closing at 1,360 CFA francs. But the most striking figure here is the annual growth. Since the start of the year, Uniwax has surged by more than 231%. To put it simply, if you had invested 10,000 CFA francs in Uniwax in January, you would now have over 33,000 CFA francs. That is a perfect example of how local equities, when carefully chosen, can completely transform an investor's portfolio. The Bank of Africa Bénin also performed strongly, with its share price climbing by 3.70% to finish at 5,185 CFA francs. On a yearly basis, this stock has advanced by more than 40%. This trend reflects growing deposits, lending expansion, and the ongoing modernization of banking services in the region. Finally, BICI Côte d'Ivoire also made progress. Its share price gained 1.96%, closing at 16,400 CFA francs. Since January, it has grown by 17%. For investors seeking long-term stability, BICI remains a reference point, a cornerstone that adds resilience to any portfolio. Of course, not all stocks had such a good day. Some names experienced sharp declines. Setao Côte d'Ivoire dropped by 7.44%, closing at 995 CFA francs. Filitisac Côte d'Ivoire also fell by 7.41%, ending at 4,060 CFA francs. These corrections remind us that stock investing always carries risks, and diversification remains the best way to protect your capital. Beyond individual companies, let's look at the sectoral indexes, because they reveal broader trends. The discretionary consumption sector, which includes goods and services that households buy when they feel confident, rose by 3.20%. That is an important signal. People are spending more on non-essential items, showing trust in their future income and the wider economy. The financial services sector advanced by 0.39%, confirming once again the appetite for banks and financial institutions. These companies continue to benefit from digitalization, credit growth, and the expansion of mobile banking across West Africa. On the other hand, the industrial sector slipped by more than 3%. This decline could be linked to rising production costs or international competition weighing on margins. For investors, it is a reminder to monitor carefully which industrial firms are able to adapt and innovate, and which may struggle in the coming quarters. Let's now turn to the bond market, which is a key area for investors seeking stability and predictable income. Even though the total traded volume on bonds fell sharply during the session, there were still important developments. In Mali, several 10-year government bonds maintained their nominal value of 10,000 CFA francs. These securities pay annual coupons above 6%. For investors, that means steady income at a time when inflation is under control, making these bonds attractive for both individuals and institutions. In Senegal, activity also remained strong, with 8-year and 10-year government bonds drawing investor attention. Yields range between 6.30 and 6.75%. For long-term investors like pension funds or insurance companies, such instruments guarantee reliable cash flows over many years. In Burkina Faso, 8-year and 10-year bonds also saw significant trading. Once again, the yields above 6% confirm that the WAMU bond market is both solid and appealing. For individual investors, these bonds are an opportunity to diversify portfolios, to balance out the ups and downs of stocks, and to secure a fixed stream of annual income. Imagine running a small business, knowing you will receive 6% coupon payments each year from your bond holdings provides peace of mind and helps with financial planning. So, what should we take away from this trading day? First, the BRVM continues to move upward, even if at a modest pace. Second, certain stocks like Uniwax, CFAO Motors, and Oragroup have shown exceptional dynamism. They are proof that true opportunities exist on this market. Third, the bond market remains stable and attractive, ensuring regular returns for investors who want to balance their portfolios. To take full advantage of these trends, there is one tool you should know about. That tool is Daba Pro, our premium subscription that gives you weekly stock recommendations, in-depth company analysis, exclusive data, and even reduced fees when you invest. With Daba Pro, you do not just follow the markets, you stay ahead of them. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Daba Markets Talk podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with another update. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating, follow us, and share with friends. Remember, this information is for educational purposes. Always do your own research or consult with a financial advisor before making investment decisions. And download the Daba app on your app store to start investing in African stocks, bonds, and manage portfolios through your phone and find other helpful content. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing your financial knowledge.